Hello, my name is Mathieu Liénard and welcome to this demo where I will switch gear a little bit and move away from tests with PECSIP Infinity on AWS to focus on machine learning. In previous demos, I already tested with PECSIP Infinity AWS Recognition for face recognition and AWS Transcribe for speech-to-text transcription. In this series of demos, I will try sentiment analysis. In this first episode, I will use AWS built-in service AWS Comprehend. And in the next episode, I will go to lower level, trying to train my own model on AWS SageMaker. The original idea was to do live sentiment analysis of tweets about my company SPI. The problem is that there are little tweets being posted about it. So it was hard to demo that the sentiment analysis is happening live. Being a unified communication engineer, I decided to also stream the tweets about Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx Teams and compare the sentiment of those tweets. This gave me much more data, but it was not yet allowing me to demo the live streaming and sentiment analysis. So I reverted to sports and streamed the tweets about the teams who won the 5 major European soccer national championships or leagues, and the 2 teams who won the 2 European Cups. But before we look at the demo and the result, I would like to present first the infrastructure I deployed to perform this live sentiment analysis. To perform this live sentiment analysis of tweets, I deployed an EC2 instance on which I'm running some code I wrote to, on one side, connect to the Twitter API and receive the stream of tweets I'm interested in, and on the other side, send the tweets to AWS Data Firehose. Firehose is one of the AWS data streaming service. What it allows me to do is perform an ETL job on the data being streamed live before putting them back into the stream to their final destination. So Firehose will trigger a Lambda function which will take the tweets being streamed and first send them to AWS Comprehend for language detection. If the language of the tweet is one of the language supported by AWS Comprehend for sentiment analysis, it will then send it back to AWS Comprehend to perform the sentiment analysis. Once it receives the sentiment, it sends it back to the Firehose stream, which then streams the data to its destination, which is an Elasticsearch cluster with Kibana. So that was my infrastructure design. Now let's see the results in Kibana, where I have prepared some dashboards. So the original idea was to perform live sentiment analysis of tweets about my company, SPI. So let's look at this dashboard, which I've created first. But as we can see, there are little data. So in about 3 weeks, I gathered only 21 tweets, which are all neutral. So it's hard to show that the system is performing sentiment analysis live with 21 tweets in 3 weeks, and all the tweets are classified as neutral. So unfortunately, this is not very helpful for this demo. One thing to note first before we look at the results of Microsoft Teams versus Cisco WebEx Teams is that although there is a Microsoft Teams Twitter account, there is no Cisco WebEx Teams Twitter account. So I use the Cisco WebEx account and Cisco Collab together, filtering them by the word Teams. So this is the method I use to try to compare exactly Cisco WebEx Teams versus Microsoft Teams. But as you will see, there is a huge difference in the amount of data I get from both. So for Cisco, I in fact did 2 things. I compared Microsoft Teams with the entire Cisco WebEx and Cisco Collab, and also to Cisco WebEx with the word Teams. So this is the results of the sentiment analysis of Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx Teams. As I was mentioning for Cisco, so because there was little data for Cisco WebEx with the word Teams, I also compared here the combined data of Cisco WebEx and Cisco Collab, even if they did not have the word Teams. Even though we can see that there are far more tweets and, for example, positive and also negative sentiment tweets about Microsoft Teams than for both Cisco WebEx and Cisco Collab combined together. If we look per category, we can see that for Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx and Collab all together, the balance is about the same, with like 80% neutral and about 15% positive tweets. What I also played with is trying to do maps of the average sentiment about the product. So this is for Microsoft Teams per country. And this one for Cisco WebEx Teams. But again, there's far less data, as we can see here, for Cisco WebEx Teams than Microsoft Teams. So I guess this map is not really relevant. So with this data, we can better see the sentiment analysis of the tweets. But it is not very live, as the frequency of tweets is still about more to the hour than the minute or second. So let's switch to the soccer example. So we can see here that I already gathered quite more data than for Microsoft and Cisco tweets, and especially I reset all those data like 30 minutes ago. So I use the same charts here, counting the number of positive, negative, or neutral, or mixed tweets per team. Here, this is the map of the count, the total count of tweets per country, regardless of the team and the sentiment. And here, so this is the map of the average sentiment per country for the team Liverpool. So because there's already quite a lot of data, it will be a bit difficult to visually see the difference happening live. So what I will do is reset or erase the entire data from this Elasticsearch, and we will see the tweets coming in the dashboards. So let me run this query to erase everything. Okay. So now, if I go in the visualization, I don't see any data. But as these get refreshed every 5 seconds, we should see, if the demo gods are with me, we should see some data starting to show up with the sentiments. So here we see a first batch of data which arrived into Elasticsearch and was processed, and now we can see them into Kibana. So it seems like it did took about like 1 or 2 minutes for the Elasticsearch cluster to process all the stream data, and that it finally shows up into Kibana. This could be partly due to the size of the cluster I choose, which is like the smallest possible size I can provision on AWS. So I did fast forward the recording here, and yes, it takes about 1 or 2 minutes to refresh. So it is not like live to the second, but I think it's still pretty cool. So that's it for this demo. I hope it was interesting. In the next demo, I will try to train myself different machine learning models on AWS SageMaker, pick the best one and try to deploy it to perform that same sentiment analysis. Thank you for watching and see you next time.